Fortunately, out of the 6 board members on this committee, there are only 2 of us present in the room, Ruby Jones and myself, and I'm Tom Tate. There are 2 on the phone, Paul Bailey. Paul, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
And Erica Ella Stewart. Hi,
Good
Erica.
morning.
And Tom, Rhonda sent me a text and said she'll hopefully be calling in shortly.
Okay, and Rhonda Lennon will be calling in, we hope. Good, thank you. What we're going to be doing today is just talking with each other about things that we think are the basic reasons that we want, what we want to see happening in the district. And we have a literal question which I'm going to place before us in a minute. And then we're going to talk about how we think student assignment can help us with that particular thing. Each one of us, I suspect each of us will have more than one item that we want to talk about, but we're going to do that. So, present around this circle, Ruby Jones, our chair, Mary McCrae, our vice chair, Tim Morgan. We have 2 people on the phone, and I'm Tom Tate. And then I want the staff to introduce themselves, who are sitting at this sort of next sort of layer. So, Sarah, will you begin?
I'm Sarah Crowder, Senior Associate General Counsel, and I staff the policy. I try to staff the policy.
You're a great job.
I'm Lindsay Dogner, I'm a legal intern with CMS.
I'm Scott McCulley. I'm the Executive Director for Planning and Student Placement.
George Ballard. So that's staff with us. I'll say more about how we're going to do it. First, I'd like to just get everybody's names around the room so we know who you are too. Logan, will you start?
Olin McClung.
Ask them to talk up so we can hear them.
Bolin McClung, Pineville.
Tom Bowers, League of Women Voters.
Gloria Cox, President, League of Women Voters.
Lucille Howard, League of Women Voters.
Steve Johnston.
Araminta Johnston.
Becky Aylick. Parker Morris. Aaron Burns.
Carol Sawyer.
Justin Perry.
Diane Powell.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. So we can go ahead and get started. We're sorry that some of you are to our backs. I came in first, so I sat here, not really thinking about this, but I'm glad to be able to see everyone, and we do appreciate your presence.
Mr. Chair, I have texted Ann Clark to ask her if she's going to call in. She indicated yesterday that she could.
But the superintendent may be calling in as well. As I say, usually we have, when the board policy committee meets, we are dealing with the policy, so that's what's before us. Today we decided that we wanted to have the board members talking to each other about student assignment without anything between us except the issues that we bring to the table. What we want to begin with is just for each of us to say what we think is going on in CMS right now that needs to be changed so that all students can receive the best education possible. That's the kind of opening general thing, and we'll probably need to address that in a different way. And then the follow-up to that is, after we get that sort of general thing out for the individual board member, is to say why or how we think student assignment policy or student assignment the way we want it to be, how that could help, or why that could help. And we'll have some discussion about that. And our staff is here to share with us data points if there are things that they can help us with, or to help us clarify things if we get into places that we need some help from more specific things that we might have. So is that clear to the board? We're going to start with that sort of what we see happening in CMS that we want to see changed, and then from there, from that general thing to what do we want to do with how we think student assignment actually could make a difference in that regard. Okay? So who wants to go first? Okay? And please speak up. We have a microphone here on the floor, y'all, just so you know. We'll probably step on it at some point.
I didn't know what that was.
That's a microphone. And so that when we look at this, we'll be able to see.
We could put the phone microphone down there too, since there's already something in the drawer. I have 2 things. We can put this.
I'm a 3-foot pattern, so it may pick up my packing up my feet.
Okay. Okay, Ruby, please.
Okay.
Please go.
I've written my discussion down. First of all, I want to say just commendable, and that's
consistent dedication and altruism, talent, and work ethic of the teachers and leadership and staff and CMS toward what we are embarking on. Concerning, number one, my lack of intentionality. We have stalled and or regressed as a system to fundamentally hold on to the principles and tenets of implementing an inclusive 21st century education. This is not due to teachers, principals, or education staff, but to the failure of the last 10 to 15 years of this Board of Education to value a commitment to educating children for a diverse global world. For example, we had a West Charlotte High School that worked, a Harding University High School that worked, and both were getting better and better. And I say that from the standpoint of 1970, when I began here at CMS and saw the beginning of trying to work toward diversity and understanding across the system. It took years for kids to begin to eat together, park in the same parking areas, make music, do art and community service together, study together. Students today, where I have taught at Central Piedmont Community College since retiring on a part-time basis over the past 12 years, I've seen regression. Students are cultural and racial strangers when they come to me. Different races and cultural groups in the classroom sit apart. I've had to struggle to engineer the concept of community of learners. The leaders, school board and CMS have not led an intentionality of inclusiveness. Too many, if we are to survive as a traditional premier school system, we must look at the common good or parents who have bailed and more parents bailing out of our system. Number two, we have too many what I term tipping point schools. Contrary to what I heard at our last policy meeting, there is a plethora of research that supports an essential truth that our communities and our leaders once held as shambling. We cannot have high-performing schools that are populated with a large number of behavioral disadvantaged children, no matter how great the program design put in place and how great the principal and teachers are. Research says success starts turning to failure when the school becomes 50% low income, and achievement is seriously depressed when 75% of the school is poor. Think, how many seriously depressed achieving schools do we have in CMS presently? Number two, peer influence impacts student achievement. It's called the hidden curriculum. 45 years of teaching tells me this is oh so true. Students learn from each other. Some suggest more so than they do teachers and parents. However, this peer influence in high disadvantaged schools is a razor-edged sword because the dominant interactions are negative, interfering with a child's ability and motivation to learn and achieve. They don't see enough peers and models. Children who want to learn are marked for their efforts. Disadvantaged children do not get to see the connection between success in school and success in life. Children live out what they see. Isolation from mainstream middle-class student peers will only continue our bottom ranking of 50th in regards to upward social mobility, moving our citizens out of poverty. Limited cultural reactions produce limited educational achievement, producing limited life chances. As one of my upwardly mobile millennial newly moved to Charlotte, stated about her son's school experience in CMS. Quote, he is in culture shock. My child's education is everything. He has no positive peer group. What a mistake I've made. What a mistake I've made to move to this district. For her, I felt helpless. Helpless. We can make our schools better if we let go of our enclave mentality, starting with a vision and a mission to do so. We can evaluate and proliferate a variety of public school choice options that require coming together. There were no such options for that parent and the many who have given up and left CMS. For 25 years or more, we learned about multiple intelligence paradigm, different ways of being smart, not just with math smarts and reading smarts. Great, that undergirds everything. But 21st century requires more, especially interpersonal, social intelligence, social competence, cultural competence, and at that, we are at horse and buggy stage. In closing, we have allowed our city to become a bastion of segregated enclaves, with our schools being the epicenter, blaming it on the courts, saying we cannot bus for desegregation. But we can bus for what we all want, quality schools for children, for our future. This school system tells a not so believable lie. School attendance is based on home proximity, we say. But talk to one of my constituents, or many of my constituents in the Villa Heights community. They're young children, these young millennials. That's a real developing area there. Young talent, young parents, and their children are sent out of District 3 over to Walter G. Byers. Speak of Montclair parents to come to just about monthly to a board meeting. So homeschool is, in some regards, a farce for many, and a privilege for the few. The threat of the contented elite jumping ship from CS falls for me on deaf ears. It just says we just don't care to work, to learn, and live together. Taking yourself out of the hard work says you do not care for a new paradigm. We must roll up our sleeves and do the hard work.